Good afternoon. Good afternoon. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Aaron B, and it is Taco Thursday. I seen you nod a little bit to the music and everything. And I got my
Listen, man. I can appreciate a good video, man. You put time into that.
hey, appreciate it. I got one of my guys to do this video. I really truly appreciate it. Mark doing the video. He does a lot of great work. So hey, I definitely appreciate you for. A lot of people love the video, and I like what the job he did and everything. I
Yeah.
want to get to that level where I could do videos like that as well.
I mean, as a fellow content creator, I appreciate seeing other content creators put a lot of work into their craft, man. I like the setup, I like the overlay, I like the video, sound quality smooth. I can appreciate all that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And before we get into the show, I gotta introduce our guest tonight. He's a senior draft writer, NFL scout, and a Detroit Lions writer for EastWestFootball.com, and is host of the Detroit Lions Avenue. My guy Walter, how's it going, Walter?
Man, it's all good. Like I said, I appreciate you having me on. I'm only a message away, man. I'm only a DM away, so I'm always
Yes,
down to
sir.
work.
Absolutely. Okay. We got a question from Sports PSP. Is Lamar Jackson your MVP?
Ooh, that's the first question we got, man.
Yeah.
Um, my MVP, no. If he won it, I wouldn't be mad. I think this was probably the most unusual year we've seen in regards to MVP voting. I was discussing this with someone yesterday, and my estimation, how I feel, if there was ever a year to give it to a non-quarterback, I felt like this is the year to do it. I felt like honestly, Tyreek Hill and Christian McCaffrey, for that matter. Well, at least when Christian was healthy on the field, Tyreek, both of those guys, mainly Tyreek though, have been probably the most dominant and consistent week in week out players in the league. So Lamar wouldn't be my MVP. I just don't feel like his numbers measure up to. For one, they don't even measure up to his actual MVP season he had a few years ago when he had 43 touchdowns. So it's rough. I think that Baltimore defense is very elite this year, very elite, and just off the eye test, there were quite a few games. Like I say, quite a few, but there were a few games where it was obvious it was more so the defense than it was Lamar. But what Lamar does have is the wow factor. Lamar has those splash plays. Lamar has those game changing plays because he's a playmaker. He's a difference maker at the quarterback position. So understanding exactly what the NFL likes to do, the direction they really want to go in, which is the MVP normally is going to go to the best quarterback, well, at least the quarterback of the team with the best record, as long as he has the stats to go along with it. I think if Lamar had maybe instead of 19 touchdowns, he was somewhere right now about 25, 26, 27. Like some of the guys that are actually ahead of him, statistically right now, it would be a little different. But like I said, if he won it, I wouldn't be mad because at the end of the day, he is the quarterback of probably the best team in football right now.
Yeah. And I think having that push beating the 49ers last week,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
I think that's where everybody's as of right now, Lamar Jackson that number one in people's mind. Like you were saying, it's the perfect year to go the non-traditional route, go with a Tyreek Hill or a C-Mac when he's healthy and everything. But honestly, I think if I wanted to see a quarterback win, I would want Lamar. But if I wanted to go on
oh yeah,
statistics and who's been the most valuable player on the team, I would go with Tyreek Hill.
yeah,
So
definitely. Lamar's my guy. I was talking to my co-host about this the other day. Outside of Detroit, I would probably be rooting for Lamar to win it. Just keeping it real. If Detroit
yeah,
wasn't in, I would be rooting for Lamar and Baltimore to win it.
yeah. I've been a Lamar Jackson fan since the Louisville days, and I always support him. Outside of, I know I'm a Cowboy fan, but I gotta recognize real when I see a player that's really stepping up his game, and it's just well, a lot of people say he's a receiver, but he's showing year by year he's showing that he could be a quality quarterback to this team, and then it benefits him having a really quality good defense as well, which really helps out a quarterback. So they don't have to be on the field as long because you got that defense out there that can make plays and make splashes against really tough opponents and then solidify what they got going on. But that was a really good question by Sports PSP for sure. My the question I got for you is, what's we're tacos and touchdown. What is your favorite taco spot and your go-to taco? Oh, you have to
Sorry
everybody.
about that. Yeah, yeah. I always try to stay on mute when somebody's talking. Man, it's a lot. Honestly, I got quite a few of them. I'm right like in the heart of Detroit, not in downtown Detroit, but in the suburban, not suburban, but the urban part of Detroit. But we got a little southwest spot in like most towns, most cities got. We go there in that area of town. You got your food trucks. You got your about it's an actual strip, matter of fact, where there's about I think 6 or 7 of them over there that you can go to. I'm all about the authentic food. Um, I don't hate on Taco Bell the way a lot of people do. Del Taco places like that, but I'm more of the home taco guy myself. I get up, I go to the fruit market, I buy all my vegetables fresh, hit the market, get my quality ground chuck or whatever meats I'm going to use, chicken, steak, carne asada, whatnot, and come home, make it myself, and enjoy a good Lions game.
Hey, I like that. I like that answer. And yeah, I don't have no hate against Taco Bell. Like a lot of people, like if your pocket's a little low, but you need to
They
get
take
some.
care of you.
Yeah, that's what
Taco
that's what.
Bell, the only restaurant you can go and still get good off of $10, man. You
Man,
can't
facts.
take $10 to McDonald's, Burger King, nowhere.
Nah, yeah, that and then making when you learn how to make it yourself and everything, it tastes. There's nothing better than home cooking either way. And but if you can find a good like food truck and everything that has some good tacos, and it's that go-to spot, and they're always consistently well. Because you know how some spots they're like, they're kind of good this week, but they kind of messed up on my tortilla or they didn't have enough flavor. You're like, man, I liked them last week, but what's going on? Maybe
My
the chef.
stomach didn't agree this week.
Oh man, I got a
Yeah.
terrible stomach. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna say that, yes sir. But my next question is, what is your most memorable podcast moment of 2023? So because this would be the last podcast of 2023 on Tacos and Touchdown.
Is it my like for my personal podcast or just any podcast?
Your personal.
Mm, man, let me think. Let me think. Let me think. Man, I'm gonna say this. Prior to the Seattle game at the beginning of the season, me and my co-host took a lot of heat because we were picking, the Seattle Seahawks. And when you're a content creator, and I mean, you understand this. When you're a content creator for a specific team, they expect you to consistently pick that team to win. You have to always paint everything with a positive brush. You can never be objective. You must always be biased. And man, we took a lot of heat, man. We heard a lot of four-letter words. We
Oh,
was called a lot. But it's like whenever you ever notice whenever you pick against your team and they end up losing, those same people never had the same heat. You turn around Monday morning, it's crickets. Nobody apologizes and says they
no,
understand why you picked the team because we try to give like consistent, legitimate reasons for why we think that the team is going to win or we think the team is going to lose. But whenever you walk back into everything Monday morning, it's like it never happened. So, yeah, we took a lot of heat, man. I was damn near thinking about walking away from podcasting.
yeah, people
it was
get
it was
rough,
crazy.
especially yeah when your fan base goes against you, they get rough and they use those four-letter words. We'll leave it at that. It's just, but you want to hear if they came to hear the honest opinion. If you don't think your team's going to do well this season, you can't just sugarcoat and make something like, oh yeah, I think our team. Because when they hear that word "think," they're like, oh okay, they're not confident in our team this week, and that's one thing you don't want to do because when you're on this platform on your platform, you got to give your honest opinion, be confident in, and sometimes it may feel like I don't believe it, but if it's like so, but if you show your confidence in it, that's all that should really honestly matter. Like it, but you're doing your research and everything. This don't come with some ESPN hot take just for the clicks. You want to hear your raw, uncut type of view.
Yeah, definitely. You want to keep it honest at all costs.
Yeah,
Maintain credibility.
yeah, absolutely. Because people are gonna check you for it. Because like everybody has, they have a computer. they have a phone where they can check and see, okay, you're this is where you messed up at or that. But like when it comes to people, when you're right, that's when they're like pride won't apologize or
Oh
say,
no,
okay, I was wrong.
they'll
That's
they'll disappear for 7 days.
yeah, they'll be back next week saying, yeah, I told you so, but you said I this part what I was saying was wrong, but it actually happened. But you they won't say anything back on that. But my next question is, how'd you get into creating NFL draft content and just football content in general?
Well, I think for a long time prior to maybe a good 5 years ago, I was on a long journey, was struggling to find myself. I always knew I loved football. Always loved football. Would coach with my nephew, coach my nephew on his little league team, whatnot. But ever since day one, 1983, well, not necessarily 1983, I went watching football fresh out the womb, but somewhere roughly around 1989, 1990s when everything really sparked off and my love affair with football started. Um, like I said, never really could latch on to a lot of stuff out here that I was doing. Worked a lot of different jobs, a lot of different 9 to 5s. Didn't like any of them. Didn't really care about any of them. Just did them all strictly for the money. Then I got into Twitter. I wasn't always a social media person, but I had a friend hook me up with Twitter. Told me, look, you need to get on here. You know too much about football. You in the prospects, breaking down stuff. This is where you need to be. So I got on there and I was posting draft scouting reports on there, breaking down players and whatnot. And I ran into someone who I'm a close friend still with now to this day, and that's Kendall Whitley, who I work with East West Football. He hit me up one day on the inbox like, "Hey, listen, I see what you're doing on here, like what you're doing. Me and a couple other people, we working together to put together a network. You want to be a part of it?" I'm like, hell yeah, I can get something behind me. I can get me an editor and everything. I can start writing out better articles, putting out better content. Strictly writing at that point in time. So I'm like, hell yeah, this works. Got with them. The network got off booming. We were doing weekly shows. We did a Sunday show, I think at 12 o'clock, pretty much every day. We were actually doing working with Hugh Jackson, a former NFL head coach, offensive coordinator, also former Grambling State head coach. We were working with him in year one. Worked with a lot of different people, and I started to branch out a little bit more on my own. I was doing a lot of big boards, top 50 prospects, top 100, top 150 prospects. You can still go on East West Football eastwestfootball.com right now and see all of the work from over the past 3 years. And then I started to branch out with the Lions content. Cause then I started thinking, well, if you can cover this much of the NFL, why not cover your local team? Every lot of people were asking me also, well, why don't you get into the Lions? You cover everything else. There's not really a huge market right now on YouTube for Lions content creators, which it isn't. I mean, there's probably a good handful of guys and gals for that matter that's really doing it and making big noise. But I began that, and after a year and a half, YouTube booted us off for likeness and image infringement, and that was about part of the time where we got caught up in a mass sweep that a whole lot of other content creators got caught up in. So we got banned on YouTube. Then we just said, well, F it, we'll jump over to Facebook, started a brand new page, rebranded everything. So it's no longer Detroit Lions Avenue, it's now
Lions,
Lions Avenue.
hey, you got to do it.
Uh, yep, keep the lion out of, keep the Detroit out of it. Keep the Detroit Lions logo out of it. I would advise that for a lot of people nowadays because the NFL is hammering down on people for that. So that's where we at right now. There's a lot. We hooked up with a community, a Detroit Lions community. Actually, you can find us all on Facebook. You can find this here page, Lions Avenue. Actually, type in Lions Avenue, you'll find us. We're also with Detroit Lions podcast. You got Lions football guys, and we're all working together as a community to get this Detroit Lions content out there and be the number one source out here.
Hey, that's a great story, and I kind of have some similarities when that you had, like when it comes to like you would go. When I went through jobs and everything, and none of them really stick. They were just like, I'm just here to get a paycheck and everything. And I thought this would be something, but nah, it just it just came to me. I just wanted to do this and everything. I still have a job and everything, just trying to get to that level where I can do this full time. That's my goal. Is I just remember even in high school, I wanted to do. I would buy those draft magazines, save up, and just be reading them and stuff. I'd be the one writing in them and checking, like, okay, I think this guy's will be here. And there's a couple guys I'm like, I kind of messed up on like a guy like a Jamarcus Russell. I thought it was gonna be a a top player in the NFL, but I was wrong on that one. But that's
The arm talent, man.
yeah,
We all
it was
wrong, man. I don't
yeah,
kill nobody for their opinions. You know, a lot of times we can share, we can actually have an opinion that a lot of the big name, big wig, more popular people in the league don't share. And the first thing they do is kill you about it. You
oh
know, they tell
yeah,
you, well, who are you? You're not this guy. You're not that guy. What do you know? But hey, we're all entitled to have our opinions. We're right pretty much just as much as they're right, and
yeah,
they're wrong just as much as we're wrong.
yeah. Yeah, there's a few guys that are in those that have that draft expert thing on their line, and there's been a lot. They've been wrong a lot of on a lot of prospects in the past, but they're still called the draft experts, just like the rest of them are. But you're not gonna be right on 100% of them. But there's gonna be some you're gonna like. You may see a couple
I
guys
mean,
that
you
nobody
don't know
talks about.
the thing is you don't know these guys.
Yeah,
All we can do is bet on traits. That's it. You know, we have no idea how hard of a worker this kid is. We have no idea if he really loves football or not. Is he in it for the money? Is he in it because he wants championships?
yeah,
Is he in it because he has a large family to take care of and he's viewed as the meal ticket and he wants to take care of everybody? Um, all you can do is just gamble on the talent.
yeah.
That's it. You won't find out anything internally about these kids until they get to the NFL.
Absolutely. It's 50-50. You may see he's really good in college, but do those skills transition to the NFL?
Yeah. Is he
Or
in the right system?
yeah, that's
Is he
another
with the
thing.
right coaching staff? Did his coaching staff even want him? Are they
Yeah,
trying to sabotage his career? Do they have his best interest in mind?
yeah,
You know, there's a lot that goes into these players and why they fail and why they succeed.
yeah. And sometimes you never figure out that situation until these players retire, and like they found out this coach didn't even like him. This was just a general manager move instead of the
Yep.
coach. Like they're in most of the coaches are flat out honest and say, "I really didn't want you on this team. It was more the general manager was on this."
I
That
wanted
was
the D tackle.
I want that D tackle out of Alabama. I didn't want this quarterback from this college I never heard of, but you're here, so I guess we're gonna make it do what it do. So my my next question is going back into let's say Lions Mount Rushmore. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of all time?
Oh, quarterback or just players regardless of position?
Yeah, players regardless of position.
Oh, my mama always said you think long, you think wrong. So I'm gonna throw out the first pictures that pop in my head. Reggie White, John Elway, Tom Brady, Jerry Rice. Like those are the first four people that really popped into my head. And I know people gonna say, "What the hell, John Elway?" John won four. I mean, John won two. He went to what, six? Yeah, John went to six. He won two. I think John Elway those early years, he was still figuring things out. But when I look at the totality of Elway's career, except for like the final 4 or 5 years where Terrell Davis really
Yeah,
took over and helped him out, which is what you expect and would like a young running back to step in and do for a veteran quarterback like him. They won pretty much all of those division titles and all of those games
yeah.
on John Elway's right arm. I think John Elway is right up there with Aaron Rodgers as far as and Michael Vick as far as like most impressive physical talents, the most impressive throws of the football that I've ever seen. Talking about guys like Brett Favre and Elway, Michael Vick, guys like that. And like I said, there's and of course I got time to. People may
Yeah.
feel like, well, why do you have Peyton up there? I watched Elway do it. You know, and I watched Peyton do it in the regular season, and then come playoff time when defenses have had all season to game plan for him and know exactly what he likes to do, things didn't work out. And we watched Peyton fail against some of the better competition. He was terrible against Baltimore.
That.
He was terrible against New England for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So Elway's just one of my personal favorites ever, man. And Jerry Rice, he holds records as a receiver that will never be broken. I don't think those touchdowns will ever be touched. Terrell, I think Terrell is what, number 3 right now.
Yeah, he's number. Yeah, he's number
Somebody
three.
might catch Terrell Owens eventually, but nah. Jerry's the GOAT wide receiver. There's more physical talented guys like Calvin and whatnot, but
Yeah.
I think Jerry's clearly the GOAT of wide receivers. Reggie White's the GOAT of defensive lineman to me. Um, who else did I have on there? Oh yeah, and Tom.
Yeah, yeah, Tom.
Yeah, Tommy
Yeah,
terrific.
yeah. Before we get off on that, but who's in your Detroit Lions Mount Rushmore? Who's those four guys in Detroit history you got to put on there?
I would say Calvin Johnson, Barry Sanders. Oh man, then you're digging kind of deep because we've had a lot of really good players.
Yeah, I have.
Maybe Lynn Barney.
Okay.
It's kind of hard for me to throw guys in there that I didn't watch though. I would be doing it out of respect, but I didn't watch them, and I can't really sit down and really break them down the way I can the guys that I actually did watch. So if I
I
just
feel
keep
you.
it strictly on the players I watched, I would say Calvin Johnson, Barry Sanders, of course. Um, mm, man, who?
And there's no wrong answers on this. Like you said, they're
I
they're,
don't
they're
know
players.
because it's like we got an abundance of really good guys that were here,
Yeah.
and it was just kind of like here. But you know what? I'm gonna throw another guy out there because he was one of my favorites. He might have been the greatest Lion, almost what the greatest Lions corner of the last 20 plus years, 30 years, and we ain't even draft him. And that's Dre Bly. And I
That's
love Dre
cool.
Bly, man, because I watched Bly. I loved him at Carolina in college. I loved him here. I loved him with the Rams. I loved him in Denver because Dre was the epitome of a true raw talent. He had a gift because he was the same playmaker at North Carolina that he was with Rams, that he was with Detroit, that he was with Denver. Everywhere Dre Bly went, Dre Bly made an impact. Dre Bly took the ball away everywhere he went. He was one of my favorite corners ever. And I don't even think it's an argument that he was the best corner we've had probably that I've seen in my lifetime. And I've seen a lot of bad Detroit Lions cornerbacks. So yeah, Bly's in there, and then I'll throw in Robert Porsche.
Uh,
Robert Porsche was one of the best edges we ever had, defensive ends.
yeah, that's a good list. And like you said, when it comes to Dre Bly, he's one of those under the radar guys that a lot of people don't talk about. Like you said, he was always consistent wherever he went from. Like you said, North Carolina, the Rams, Detroit, and what was the other team he played for?
Denver.
Yeah, I was
If
about
I'm
to,
not mistaken, did he go somewhere else at some point in time? I
let me
know it
see.
was those three teams for sure: Rams, Lions, and Broncos.
Let me see. I didn't even know he's a coach now.
Yeah, here, because
Oh yeah,
he was at North Carolina. He was the cornerbacks coach in North Carolina for about I think like 3 or 4 years before he left there.
oh yeah. He played for San Francisco for a
Yeah,
little bit. Then he came back to Detroit in his last year.
yeah,
I need to do my research on that one. I didn't even know he was the cornerback coach for y'all. That's on me.
yeah, yeah. Hopefully we can get him some big time talent over this offseason, man.
Yeah, absolutely. My and my next question, that's we get into the state of the Lions. So my next question is, y'all traded T.J. Hawkinson last year to the Vikings, but y'all drafted a guy in Sam Laporta in the second round. What's your thoughts on Laporta's impact as a rookie?
Tremendous. I don't think it's any fluke that he's doing things that no rookie tight end has ever done in NFL history. Um, he's a way better blocker than what TJ was. He's a way better, not better, but a way more consistent pass catcher than TJ was. And I'm not trying to really throw any shade at TJ because TJ, before the injury, TJ was looking damn good for Minnesota. So it just wasn't working out here. But we're very happy with Sam Laporta. He fits right into the offense because he's an every down tight end. We can put him in multiple packages. Defenses don't know really what to expect. It can be a running play. It can be five straight running plays with him doing leading most of the blocking on the strong side. Sam can go out there and get 10, 11, 12 catches. He has a good four routes that he runs. He doesn't need to run seven, eight, nine routes. As long as you, as a tight end, you can manage to dominate the seam. You can dominate that out, utilize your big body. You can get you a comeback here and there. You're good. And then get those broken plays where you sit down in those empty zones and you get those easy catches. So Sam's been a heaven sent for us, man. Heaven sent because he helps out the running game so much.
Yeah, when it comes to Iowa, they got a lot of great tight ends out there, and Sam Laporta is definitely one of those guys you can see who's gonna be a guy that is gonna probably be in those top five type of tight ends in the near future. Because you seen it on the film when it came to Iowa and everything that he could be that consistent tight end, and y'all definitely got a gem in the making for sure when it comes to Sam Laporta. But my next, we're gonna kind of stick a little bit on the next rookie y'all drafted. And that was, I want to get your thoughts on the running back tandem of rookie Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery, because y'all are like one of the top four running teams in the league right now. If I'm correct,
Yeah, just like last season, I
yeah,
think when Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes came in, they made it known that they wanted to run the football.
yeah,
They had a couple pieces in Frank Ragnow, one of the better centers in football, and Taylor Decker, one of the better left tackles in football, already in place.
yeah,
They made Panay Sewell a generational left tackle, their very first draft pick 2 years ago. And if you look at Jameer, just starting with Jameer, he was my number one back coming out. Love Bijan. I felt I would have been fine with Bijan Robinson, but I felt like throughout all of last season, watching so many Alabama games, his versatility was very Marshall Falk like to me.
I can
And
see
I
that.
felt like he could help open up that passing game even more. Given that, Jameson had the struggles he had as a rookie, couldn't really trust it because he was coming off the ACL injury. And he missed so much time. He missed all the training camp, couldn't practice with the team, and then by the time he came back, it was like he was kind of like a fish out of water, and fans like myself already knew we weren't going to know much about him till this year. Then boom, he had the gambling situation, so then he missed the
Yeah.
first
Oh,
4 or 5 games of the season. So I was looking at Jameer like, you know what, he would be a better fit for us because he can help out in the passing game just in case Jameson continues to have a little bit of rust on him and struggle to really hit the ball, not to hit the ball, but hit the ground running for that matter. But the talent, the speed, and I think what everyone's seen from Jameer so far ain't nothing yet. Ain't nothing yet. It took him a minute. Part of this fan base here in Detroit was kind of frustrated with him early because he wasn't getting the touches. He wasn't getting the carries, and I try to explain to people, you have a veteran in David Montgomery. So why wouldn't you give him the bulk of the carries while this young running back learns the ropes? Because he was struggling early on in the season with patience, which is what most athletic fast backs struggle with. They want to get to that edge or they want to get to that hole, they want to get to that gap before the block develops and they want 60, 70-yard touchdowns. Well, he was struggling with that, and therefore, being a rookie running back and struggling with pass protection, you're going to struggle getting snaps. But as everyone have seen, as he's developed throughout this season, and this is the most you can hope for. And I said it back in week 4. Best case scenario for Jameer is that heading into the playoffs, he's hot. And that light has went off and he figured it out. And I think he's figured it out, man. He's running the ball a lot harder. He's more tougher to bring down after contact than I think a lot of people expected from him. He's only like 198 pounds. He's not the biggest running back out there, but the vision, the speed for sure, the determination, the attitude he runs with now, the confidence he runs with, and you pair that with a guy like David Montgomery who's just steady.
yeah,
He's gonna move the pile. He's gonna get those tough yards. And if you sleep on him, he'll rip off one for 30 on you. So we looking good right now, man. Great offensive line. Um, Tandem of running backs that perfectly complement each other, and they're great as far as yards after contact initially in the NFL. So I think the running game is something that teams are going to have to deal with if they have any plans on actually taking us down.
Yeah, when you look at y'all's running backs, and like you were saying, it's just going to take time for Jameer Gibbs to get develop into the NFL offense, and now he's getting it together right in the right situation in the end of the season where y'all are a playoff team, and now he doesn't have that many treads and tires on him, and so he's gonna be like he may be that player that you're like, okay, he's surprising. He's that one that steps up, and then you have David Montgomery who can wear out a defensive line where he could expose something in that inside. He could be that north and south type of runner, and Gibbs is the one that can kill it in the outside and as a receiver as well. So y'all got a nice little setup, and your offensive line is doing very well as well. So it's gonna be definitely an interesting game. But my next question is, let me see on here. Do you think Dan Campbell deserves to be Coach of the Year?
Whew. Um, whew. I think there's about a good 4 or 5 guys that should be up for it. Um, I'm one of those people, one of those fans that feels like it doesn't have to always necessarily go to the head coach of the team with 13, 14 wins. I look at a guy like Sean McVay with the Rams. I think McVay's done a terrific job with that team. They came into this season as the youngest football team age wise in the league, led by a championship quarterback though in Stafford. But I think the Rams are sitting on what 8 wins I think right now. That's the team that I had predicted before the season to win about 5 games. So I think a guy like McVay should be in it as well. But you look at Detroit. This is also a young football team. They're doing it with Jared Goff, a veteran quarterback, a guy that was a castaway from another football team. But this team does have some talent. You know, our division isn't as strong as it has been in the past. You know, a lot of people did have us predicted to win the division for that matter. I thought Green Bay would be bigger competition than what they turned out to be, but they haven't. So I think he should be up there for sure. If you look at the totality of what Dan's been able to accomplish here in Detroit, they went from 3-13, 3-13-1 year one to 9-8 year two, and now they're sitting at 11-4. And I believe I think they're 19-5 or something in the last. So this team, even though I understand the cliche is what happened last year doesn't carry over into the next year, but this is a team that started last year 1-6. You know, they started last year 1-6, and since that 1-6 start, they've lost a total of 6 games. That's it since the middle of last season. So Detroit's been hot. They've been relatively hot, and like I said, to go from 3 to 9 to 11 to possibly 12 or 13 wins is tremendous.
And it feels like that this team has basically got that energy from a Dan Campbell type of coach, and just overall the team plays with physicality. Just kind of how he brings that presence to the team. That's how they bring it on the football field.
I
I
think
think,
players get it, man.
yeah,
You see it with Antonio Pierce with the Raiders.
yeah,
Players just seem to get it, and I think I would like to see more former players get head coaching opportunities, man.
yeah. I definitely agree because they definitely are showing that they can be that type of guy. Like if I was the not to get off of the Lions, I would definitely if I was the Raiders, I wouldn't be trying to get that big name. Antonio Pierce is that guy that could be that head coach for y'all for you for a
Yeah, just do
while.
it the right way.
Yeah,
Stop
and
swinging for sexy names and give
yeah,
it to the. They messed up, I believe, last time the Raiders when they didn't hire the last interim that they had,
oh
and
yeah,
they decided
Basacha.
to go and they decided to go into the direction of Josh.
Yeah,
So
yeah. His you could have just remember what he did with Denver. Nobody really was listening to Josh like that. He wanted to be a Bill Belichick, and he's not that guy. But
well, also look at what D'Amico Ryans did in Houston.
yeah, that's another one. And that's who I kind of have as my coach of the year. Because when you think of Houston, they're that team that has talent, but they always kind of be at the bottom of the barrel of the NFC South. But now you're looking at this team possibly winning the South this year. And this like how I come with Detroit. This team is surrounding this coach, and like they're following this philosophy that they're looking for in Houston, and then you see it in Detroit. You see it with the Raiders. It's like you were saying. You maybe there's a you should look at some of these former NFL players. They have experience in the league, and now they transition to being coaches, and they can be motivators. They know how the game works and everything, and they're not that old. They're all kind of around that same age, but they could have players gravitate towards them like they've been coaches for a long time.
Yeah, and also I think players respect. They have a certain respect for guys who been through the fire and been through those games the same way they have. They've been through the injury riddled Mondays through Thursdays, and the tour days, and
Yeah,
the being away from your family for two
yeah,
weeks at a time, 3 weeks at a time. So it works. And like I said, a team like the Raiders I think would be silly to let Antonio Pierce go. He would
yeah.
be perfect for the Chargers. I was just telling someone the other day, like the Chargers need someone like him.
Yeah, that's definitely another team that they don't need to worry about getting like those old coaches or those so-called gurus and everything. Maybe they should go for a former NFL player that's like you were saying that's been through the fire and everything and knows what it takes to get to that next stop because they got talent on that team. They just need the right coaching involved with that team. But we're getting kind of close to my last question. But my next one is trying to get into the meat and potato of the game. What is your key matchup versus the Lions and the Cowboys game?
All right. One of them I think is the Detroit Lions running backs and offensive line versus Dallas front seven. Like I mentioned earlier, Lions lead the league, I believe, in yards after contact. Dallas has kind of been exposed a little bit over the past couple weeks. You know, you're looking at with guys like Raheem Mostert and in Buffalo, what Buffalo was able to do on the ground with them. When you have those smallish, more athletic defensive fronts, when teams decide to go with that, you're going to go through what you're going to go through. You know, there's going to be certain teams that are going to say, wait a minute now, we're bigger and stronger than you. We outweigh you guys man for man by 60 pounds. Why wouldn't we exploit what we have? And Buffalo isn't even like that mentality wise. They want to throw the football a whole lot more. Miami's not even like that. Even though Mostert, I think people have slept on how well the Dolphins have ran the ball this year because you see so much of the big downfield plays, the Waddle, Tyreek Hill or whatnot, with Tua. But the Dolphins run the ball very well. They do. And that's still not something they want to consistently do. Running the football is something that we want to consistently do. So I think our O line and our running backs versus Dallas front sevens are going to be serious. Also, how do we handle Micah Parsons? So it'll be pretty much Micah Parsons versus Panay Sewell and Sam Laporta for the most part. I think looking at that right there, if we can put this guy in a situation where he can't just pin his ears back and just pass rush. For one, because we're gonna run the football. And I think we should run the football at him a little bit more. Even in cases where he moves. He may move to the right side, he may move back to the left side. We need situations where I would have Panay Sewell out there pulling a whole lot more.
Yeah,
Micah's on the left. Go ahead, get Panay out there, pull, get him out there in space. Got Montgomery as the lead blocker getting in there too. And then make sure you put a body on Micah consistently. So that way, when it is past down time, he's not fresh. That's one way you would love to equalize most pass rushers. You want to beat them up a little bit. So that way, come late third quarter, early fourth quarter, late fourth quarter, he's not as fresh to be able to get there. The legs a little bit heavier,
yeah,
the shoulder pads a little bit heavier, those bruises sting a little bit more, and now he's not just feasting. He's got to really work for everything he gets. Also, I think Hutch versus Steele. Steele has been kind of up and down this season. Y'all seen good Steele, y'all seen bad Steele. Steele
that's
that gave
true.
up seven. He done gave up
I'm
seven
not gonna
penalties.
lie.
He done gave us 7 penalties and 7 sacks. And I'm not gonna just trash Terrence Steele because me personally, I want to see more out of Aiden Hutchinson too. I think this is a game where we need him. We need to make sure that we keep Dak thrown off. Dak has improved a lot, I think, over the past couple years with the off-platform stuff, the off-schedule stuff. Dak always could move. Dak always could run out, roll out. Dak could always do the bootlegs. You guys have always been able to open up the playbook a little bit with Dak because Dak is athletic. He's not the most athletic, but he's athletic enough to open your playbook up with him
Yeah,
as far as things you can do, getting him on the move and throwing the ball outside the numbers. But we got to keep that man under control.
yeah,
This is a game I think where Aiden Hutchinson, former number 2 overall pick, hasn't put up the stats sack wise, production wise of a number 2 overall pick. But this is the type of game where we need Aiden to really step up big time. Um, Also, I think if we can, outside of those matchups, another matchup I think could be serious for y'all. Um,
yeah,
Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams has been getting more comfortable, more acclimated within his offense. He's been catching the ball a whole lot more consistently now. I think he's somebody y'all need to watch. Seriously.
yeah,
Because if the plan is to key in on Amon St. Brown to take him away, that ain't gonna happen. Amon gonna get his 12 catches. More than likely. He's our Keenan Allen.
all
Like,
right,
whatever teams try to do, that boy gonna as long as golf has protection, has relatively solid protection, St. Brown is gonna catch 10, 11, 12 balls. That's just how it is. Now, you guys ain't been good against the play action. If we
yeah,
keep running that football, if we come out and we establish the run, and St. Brown is getting his paper cut catches, and Laporte is getting
yeah,
his third down conversions, that opens everything up for Jameson.
yeah,
That's what it is, and I think that's a huge thing. A lot of teams in the NFC aren't really taking into account is that you haven't seen Jameson Williams really yet.
yeah,
You know, he's a guy he's been a project for the most part. He only played 1 year relatively of college football. He only had 1 year of production. And then he tore his ACL. He missed majority of his rookie season. So this is a guy who's still coming around, but that raw speed is still there. And Dallas do have a fast track inside that stadium. So
yeah,
yeah, I think he's a guy, if matchup wise, that you guys got to pay attention to because we've been kind of like keeping Jameson on the low lately. They've been giving him more little consistent, little crossing routes, little digs, stuff like that. And I think that's kind of by design to lure people to sleep. Then come playoff time, y'all can see bombs away to Jameson.
yeah.
Y'all might see it Saturday night.
Yeah, because when I was looking at the film a little bit, you would see those explosive plays by Jameson Williams, and that's the thing about the Cowboys. They'll focus on like the main receiver, but then you'll see there's this one receiver that's kind of been under the wraps on the team, and that he'll make the mixed play splashes. That's when you got to have like your nickel back, and Jay Lou's got to step up his game and track where Jameson Williams is going because y'all have him in motion and everything. He may do a sweep. You got to be right there trying to contain that. And I think when it comes to Micah Parsons, he needs to be at more reps at off linebacker because that's one of the main things I have problem with them having him at edge all the time is where, like you were saying, you can get Panay Sewell to take him out of the play, or if he's on the left side or the right side, that's what they're gonna do is take him out of the play where he's not gonna be an impact. But if you put him at off linebacker, he could make an impact. He may not get the sack. He may get the pressure where he kind of startles a little bit of Jared Goff and everything, or he may take on a double team where you can have guys like a Clark could run free, or one of your other edge rushers, or D-Law. I think that's what you got to see with when it comes to Micah Parsons in the O line. If Tyron Smith's not healthy, I think you should have Tyler Smith at left tackle for this time being because we're playing against a solid defensive a front seven that's really good. It just when it comes to our passing game with CD Lamb and Cooks and Jake Ferguson with those short immediate routes where they can
Mm-hmm.
make Yakabilly, you got to take advantage of y'all's passing defense because y'all allow a lot of yards, but y'all have capability to make turnovers. So you got to play smart, efficient football with them because you can't just like, oh, they give up a lot of yards, but you got to figure out where your CD Lamb and a Jay Ferguson quickly and efficiently because when it comes to our offensive line, we're a little bit of injured side because Terrence Steele's coming out that ACL injury. He's been on and off. Zach Martin's been solid, but he's been a little beat up. Biag's been solid, but it's just we needed if Tyron Smith's not going to play this game, put Tyler Smith at left tackle, and maybe you put Edoga at guard because I think that's where he's best suited at. Because left tackle, he was no good last week against the Dolphins. They were having a field day with us, and that's gotten better in this offense. But you want to protect your quarterback, especially when you got playoffs coming up. It's just have the best personnel out there, and I think the best personnel when it comes to offensive line is have Tyler Smith at left tackle if Tyron's not available this week. And
Yeah. Well, I think you guys gotta attack Detroit too.
yeah,
I'm giving y'all a couple pointers, but
yeah,
yeah, it's if you don't even attempt to run the football, and I go back because of course I watch every single game, but the teams that didn't even really attempt to run the football on us, because you know how some offenses are.
yeah,
They'll go into a game and say, because we were fourth in the league and just stop at a run. So some offensive coordinators, some coaches will head into a game and say, you know what, we're not even gonna really try to run the ball against Detroit. We're gonna try to throw the football because they do give up a lot of yards. We give up a lot of yards, we don't give up a lot of touchdowns
yeah.
downfield though. That's the whole thing. We got pretty quality safety play.
I do.
So yeah, so it's like we'll give up the yards. I'll take that. But the problem is you can't be one dimensional against us.
It,
We
it,
give up a lot. Listen, there's been a lot of receivers that ate against us. Keenan Allen ate against us for over 100. Chris Olave ate against us for over 100. Um, Tyler Lockett ate against us for over 100. Um, Somebody recently we played ate against us. So we'll give up the 100-yard receiver. Oh yeah, Justin Jefferson. He always
yeah,
eat
that's
against
one.
us. We Justin Jefferson's personal buffet. Every time we see Justin Jefferson, that boy get damn near 200 on us. But none of those teams ran for 100 yards on us, and none of those teams beat us.
Yeah, that,
So y'all a little different because, and this is one of my keys to victory. I think we have to pay attention to for Detroit. Limit the broken plays, the big plays off the broken plays. The scramble drills with Dak, and then next thing you know, it's a big play downfield, a third down conversion to Brandon Cooks for 30 yards.
yeah,
Limit the broken plays between Gallup, Lamb, and Cooks. Because our corners, I'm gonna be honest with you, our corners can't handle y'all. So it's gonna take a complete team effort in that secondary to slow Dallas down, especially if we don't get that pass rush going. So, like I said, if we can limit those broken plays, because we gave us some to Minnesota, giving up a 3rd and 27 is unacceptable.
yeah,
So,
yeah. You can't give us a lot of yards, and you can't do a lot of one on one. Like you were saying, it's got to be a team effort. And when it comes to, and I think that's the thing about Dallas, they don't try to challenge team running the ball. You see teams against us will test us like, okay, let's run the ball and see what happens, see what they're gonna do. That's what Buffalo did. Like you said,
in Buffalo,
they're
Buffalo
not a
was like,
physical
oh, it
team.
worked.
Yeah,
Well,
James
let's
Cook.
keep doing it then.
Yeah, James Cook looked like the number
Yeah,
one
that's how the
running back out there.
NFL is. Oh, shit, the running game worked today. Well, let's stick with it.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't always have to stick to the plan you always do the week before and the week before.
Yeah.
If you're gonna run if Tony Pollard's doing well against the Lions, don't stop it until y'all figure it out. Or we don't have Dowdle this week, so I think Deuce Vaughn will get a couple of reps because you haven't heard much from him since the preseason. Maybe he'll get
Yeah.
involved, or maybe they'll activate Malik Davis. And surprisingly, last week when it comes to fourth and shorts, they use Hunter Lupke, who was that single back in North Dakota State. And now they're figuring like, okay, maybe we should get him involved. I think he should definitely get involved in this game. He could be that physical guy that can get those short yardage, and then you get a Tony Pollard that can attack the outside, bring a little power, and he's improved in as a pass blocker as well. That's the kind of aid a guy like Terrence Steele on that side because Aiden Hutchinson is one of those defense ends. he may have a real good game, or he could have. He's kind of like up and down, but you can't sleep on a guy like that. You got to protect Dak because
Oh yeah, because the effort gonna always be there.
yeah,
The technique and the skill, overall skill, may not be there with Aiden right now, but the effort gonna be there.
yeah, the effort is 100%. It's just once he gets that tool belt all set, he's gonna be one of those edge rushers you can't sleep on. But we kind of knocked out both when it comes to key victories and the key matchups. I appreciate you for getting on the show. But before I let you go, Walt, where can they find you at, and what do you got going on in the near future?
All right. Well, currently we are on Facebook and LinkedIn. Same thing, Lions Avenue. My
Sure.
LinkedIn account is my actual name, Walter Stringer. Just type it in, Walt Stringer. Just type it in. You'll find my page. You'll find a section with all the videos that we've done on there over the past year, and also on Facebook. You can just type in either my name, follow me, Walt Stringer, Walter Stringer, that is, or you can just type in Lions Avenue and you can go straight there and find all the Lions Avenue content.
Sure. Hey, before I let you go, do you have like a score for this game?
Oh man, this guy done put me on the spot. It's difficult for me to say it because I got one more thing, like one more key that I was thinking about, man.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, Dan Quinn is gonna play man outside for the most part,
Mhm.
and he's gonna shut down the middle of the field, and that's how you beat Jared Goff. That's what kind of scares me. If you close the middle of the field, Jared struggles. So I think the major matchup and the major key to winning this game is Goff. If Goff and Ben Johnson, if they can figure out a way to scheme up some plays downfield, because we struggle attacking teams outside the numbers. We don't attack vertically that often,
Yeah.
unless it's out of play action. If we can figure out ways to start attacking downfield outside the numbers, I think we got a solid chance. My honest opinion is that Detroit is better than Dallas. I think Dallas is more explosive. Dallas has the ability to jump on you and bury you. But Detroit has proven this season that they can win games in a multitude of ways. We can score. We can beat you 38-10. We can beat you 20-17. We can beat you 21-6. Um, we can run the ball. Like we dominate the line of scrimmage in a lot of games, which is a key attribute to have heading into the playoffs and a key attribute, period, to be a solid team. And I think, something's got to give. Dallas is great at home. We're great on the road. I think we're better at home. We play better on the road than we do at home. So something's got to give. I think Detroit is really focused right now. We don't know what we're going to get out of Dallas after two straight losses. I think it's a bad look
Yeah.
for Dallas to be on the 2 game losing streak. I had y'all beating Miami. I thought y'all would go down to Miami and y'all would be a little too more physical for Miami. That didn't happen. Y'all did lose to Miami on the final play of the game, so that kind of
Yeah.
hurts. The Buffalo game was kind of scary because we've seen teams. It seems like when Dallas loses, teams take them apart. It's not like it's really a low scoring game or super close game. When Dallas lose, they lose, and when they win, they win. People talk about the competition you guys have had in the cupcakes, and Detroit's played cupcakes, and that was a big difference. I was pointing out to a lot of Lions fans for most of the season. The difference between Dallas and Detroit when it comes to the cupcakes is Dallas smashed their cupcakes.
Yeah.
We struggled with a lot
Yeah.
of our cupcakes. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't even necessarily call it a struggle. I think when you're a run first, run second football team, it looks like a struggle because your brand of football isn't pretty. When you're a run first team, it isn't going to be pretty. Dallas wants to throw the football, so it's a contrast of styles. I'm gonna go with Detroit though. I'm gonna go with Detroit 27-21.
Okay, a close game, and I kind of see that same way, but I see Dallas winning. They just got a limit on the turnovers, uh, establish a run. I know get the pass game started, but you got to not be afraid to run the ball. That's one of the main things. If y'all figure out a way, like you're saying, to stop our receivers, you got to figure out something else. Like you got to run the ball with Pollard, or maybe get him out in the passing game as well, and get Hunter Luki involved as well to be that that 1-2 punch. He could be that north to south runner. And if Deuce Vaughn could be involved as well, or Malik Davis, get them involved as well. Just figure out, okay, if we can run the ball on Detroit, keep it going. Don't fray from it. If it doesn't, if when it doesn't work, go back to the passing game. CeeDee Lamb's going to be open at times, and then you can see a Jay Ferguson maybe see a little see a little hole right there. Like, okay, I can make a play right there. Just try to figure out everything in the defense. Just try to generate pressure on Jared Goff and just they're gonna try to test you when it comes to maybe trying to do it deep or once in a while, but just figure out little things and generate turnovers because it's been a little bit since we've seen like a pick or overall. Just get back to how this defense was in the first few weeks of the season. Just kind of bring that edge and everything. Don't come in there like, okay, this is our home. We ain't got to worry about anything. This team, Detroit, they play physical. You got to play physical as well, but play smart as well. That's my last take on that victory.
You know what though? I think it's tempting. For passing teams, it's too tempting when they see us.
Yeah,
It's too tempting to throw the football. Look at Minnesota
yeah,
last week. They threw the ball for almost 40 times with Nick Mullins.
yeah.
But and you know how these offensive coordinators and these coaches are, they're impatient.
They are.
If you jump out to because Minnesota ran the ball 11 times last week. There's no way in hell any NFL offense would be running the ball 11 times. But they had 11 carries for 17 yards last week. So I think it's difficult for these coordinators to maintain patience. If y'all come out Saturday and y'all got in the first quarter and a half, y'all got 13 carries for 24 yards. It's going to be difficult to keep sticking with that because that's not y'all identity.
Yeah,
It's our identity to stick with the run.
yeah,
If Dallas is shutting us down in the first half, we got 27 yards on 20 carries. We're going to come out in the second half and we're going to run the ball 25 more times, more than likely. Or, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying, get our running backs the ball different in different ways in the backfield. So it's going to be interesting, man, because that's not really what y'all want to do.
yeah,
It's going to be tempting with Gallup and Lamb and Brandon Cooks to throw the ball on us. It's going to be
yeah,
real tempting.
yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things like you're saying. They stick to their offense. But if you see something in the defense where you could have opportunity to run the ball, do it. I'm not saying switch your philosophy, but don't
Mm-hmm.
be afraid to run the ball. Just because you see stats on everything, there may be an opportunity where you can make a big play and a big splash on the run game. But you just got to play smart and efficient. Don't force things, or don't be predictable because don't you can't think that this ain't a smart team. You gotta be creative and everything. Get some out of that tool belt and utilize the players you have on this team.
What do you think about the coaches?
The
Who got
coaches,
the edge, McCarthy or Campbell?
man.
How do
That,
y'all feel about Mike McCarthy in Dallas, man?
I like Mike McCarthy, but it just sometimes he's you really like him, but then there's some things he just doesn't make the right adjustments. Sometimes he kind of sticks to his guns, kind of being that old school minded coach. Oh, we're gonna stick to what we always do. Like make those adjustments where you could win the game. Just don't let your pride get the best of you. Be this there you see some times where he makes adjustments and then plays and gambles a little bit or okay we're gonna run the ball on 4th and 1 or we're not instead of punting it or he did some smart plays with the Dolphins game where he went for the field goal instead of going for the touchdown. You kind of got to figure out what he's gonna do. But overall I like him as a coach, but he just needs to sometimes put pride to the side and make those adjustments in the next half because that's where we really struggle at.
You think y'all confident with him heading to the playoffs? Because I think that's a spot on the team that we don't talk about enough. Like the head coach confidence
Yeah,
level with guys like Shanahan and Nick Sirianni and Dan Campbell, Mike McCarthy.
yeah,
You know, how confident are you guys in him? Or
yeah.
at least you.
With me, it's almost mid level when it comes to the confidence. I need to see when you get into the playoffs when it's down to the wire. What are you going to do to make those right adjustments? And overall, can you keep that still that confidence in your players and everything? Because you when it comes to like okay, we made a if you make a mistake, don't be all down and like, okay, all is over. Can we make those adjustments, make the smart plays, and can the offense and the defense keep it going? Because you've seen the defense doing well. It's just the offense will crawl in the shell and then saying it's all over. Can you? Because you're supposed to be this offensive minded coach. Can you make those quick adjustments? Because you may say we playing against the Bucks and we win that game, but we got to play against the San Francisco, and that's always been the boogeyman. Figure out how did the Ravens win this game? How did the Browns and Cincinnati won this game? Yeah, they didn't have a Trent Williams or a Debo Samuel. Figure out ways to beat those teams, and don't sleep on the other teams you're playing against. Like these teams have got here for a reason. Just don't focus on one team. Focus on the team ahead right now. I think that's one of the things because you'll see them going against a team, but they'll focus like on the Eagles, but they'll lose to a team they shouldn't have lost to.
I think that's part of it's the hate towards your divisional opponent.
Yeah,
And I look at how Dallas lost to Philadelphia a few weeks ago. It kind of felt like that matchup a couple weeks ago in Dallas was not necessarily the Cowboys Super Bowl,
yeah,
but you know how it is when you play certain divisional opponents. Like when we play Green Bay, we want to kick Green Bay heads in. That's just how it is. If
yeah. I
we
feel
lose
you.
a game to Green Bay, which we ain't been losing to Green Bay too much lately, but Vikings, the hatred for the Vikings, like fans here, it seems to me fans here hate the Vikings more than they hate the Packers. When we play Minnesota, we want to win every time. Like I don't care if week 18 we play Minnesota here, finish the season up here against Minnesota. Even if we got everything wrapped up, if we end up going into that game the number one seed and nothing to play for, we still want to beat them. And when you lose to them, that's how you take it. Especially you look at that team like Dallas, how y'all are. You was coming off the bad loss to San Francisco. You hearing from the media about how y'all can't beat anybody good, and
Yeah,
Philadelphia got y'all number, and Jalen Hurts is the anti-Dak Prescott. Jalen Hurts has this, he has the
yeah,
intangibles. Dak don't have this, and that. Y'all wanted to beat Philadelphia bad. That's what the game felt like.
yeah,
Like that's how some of those divisional games are. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting game Saturday, man. I think it's
yeah.
gonna be really good. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout either way. I just hope for a really good game, a well played game. No controversy,
No,
even though it seems like you can't get an NFL game as of late without any official controversy. But I hate to see it whether it's in my team's direction or an opponent's team's direction. I hate seeing good games screwed up by bad officiating.
yeah.
That's what I don't want to see. I don't want to see obvious pass interference not be called. I don't want to see obvious non-pass interference, great coverage be called pass interference. I don't want to see these BS roughing the passer calls. I don't want you. I don't want the officials taking over the game. I want a solid, well played game on both sides, not marred by a bunch of penalties either.
Yeah, you don't want the officiating to get involved into this game being a really good game. Make smart officiating calls. Don't try to say, "Oh, this guy tapped him on the shoulder. We're going to count that as pass interference." But if you see them over there grabbing about the jersey and everything like that, okay, call that. But don't uh, be calling BS calls, and then it looks like oh, they kind of the refs are going on this side of the team. Just 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 do your job as the rest and let the players get involved. I'm not trying to say nothing against the rest, but I just see that a lot where the rest get too much involved, and then we're gonna get on. You see it on the 4 letter networks, and that's all they're talking about it. I just want to see one of those games that go down to the wire and see who's the best team out between us two.
Well, I think you want to see the consistency also.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily have an issue with the penalties. Just make it consistent. Like if we go back to that Chiefs Packers game from about 3 weeks ago, there was an obvious pass interference call, and to me, this ain't the NBA. You deal with it in the NBA as far as makeup calls and
Yeah,
where you know it's inside 2 minutes, it's inside a minute to go in the fourth quarter. We're gonna swallow the whistle, this and that. If it's an obvious pass interference call, and you know what play I'm talking about in that
yeah,
Chiefs Packers game, if it's
yeah.
an obvious pass interference call, I don't care about well, we don't want to decide the game on a 47-yard pass interference call. That's BS.
Call it.
Period. If we going for the throat and as the ball's being thrown downfield and Deron Bland jumps on Jamison Williams' back and pulls him to the ground before the ball gets there, call the pass interference.
Yeah,
I would
uh,
feel the same way in Dallas' favor. Like, who wants to lose a game off something like that?
yeah,
You know.
yeah. As a fan, even though it'd be called on your team, you're gonna be upset at the end of the game. But you're like, oh, but they still called the right
But
call.
it's a crazy
Yeah,
feeling when you watch a play and the announcer see it, you see it,
yeah,
the crowd sees it, and you looking around like, so that wasn't pass interference. So Dean Damblino ain't gonna say nothing about this. Like,
yeah,
so y'all just gonna sweep this under the rug? And I
yeah,
think that's what bothers a lot of football fans, is that we see blatant malpractice from these officials on a week to week basis. And on Tuesday morning, you never ever hear the NFL come out and say, yeah, you know, this was bad and we holding this official responsible for this and that. Not to say that they don't. They could discipline them in private,
yeah.
you know, but you rarely hear the NFL come out and say, "Yeah, that was terrible."
They did all of them just put the sunshades on, act like it never happened, and everybody else brings it out. Even coaches like even though it was against the other team, the coaches are kind of like they didn't really call that. It's a win, but you want to see a fair game where it's like okay, who was the best team this game? Who
Be
which team?
consistent,
Yeah, just be consistent
like
overall.
Kansas City with Kadarius Toney. Like, I can understand Chiefs fans being ticked off about that because if my guy been lining up like that all game and y'all haven't called it, why would y'all call it on the biggest play of the game? Y'all might as well not have kept calling it if that's the case.
Yeah, that's one of the things, but. Man, I can't wait for this game. It's kind of interesting seeing this game on a Saturday. You always kind
Yeah.
of folk you kind of you realize it'd be like on a Sunday or usually Monday night football, but hey, NFL is trying to spread it out throughout the week, and you can't complain if you love football. Even though you may want to see a couple of basketball games, but if your team's playing on a Saturday, I may have to put back an NBA game or two, just like, hey,
Not
my
the
team's playing.
Pistons.
Hey, I'm a Spurs fan. We're in the same boat right there.
Not the Pistons, boy.
Man, man, it's been rough trying to watch a Spurs game. I know it's been rough being a Pistons fan. It's just like, you know
I
what?
wouldn't turn the Pistons game on for a blind person. I'm, I'm straight, man. We doing bad, but at least y'all got Wimby though, and we
Yeah,
got Cade. But they
yeah,
both looking. Cade Cunningham look like he in the age 3 years, bro. It's
man.
the stress, bro.
Y- And it just you just feel sorry for them. Like they're great talents, but they're just on this team, and they got to go into the after a game, and they got to kind of keep it cordial and everything. But you know they're upset. And you're like, dang, I didn't know I was gonna beat this type of team. You just want to.
But y'all not bad though. Like, y'all not a bad organization.
No, we're not.
You know, it's Detroit is bad right now, starting from upstairs.
Yeah,
And I think the NBA ain't no different from the NFL, the NHL, MLB. You can't escape bad management. It just doesn't happen. When it's bad upstairs, it trickles down.
yeah,
Bad GMs, bad owners hire bad GMs. Bad GMs hire bad head coaches. And bad head coaches hire bad assistant coaches. And they all draft bad players. I
yeah.
witnessed it for decades here in Detroit, man. Everybody was bad and everybody kept drafting bad players.
Hey, but in those mid 2000s when we went toe to toe with the Pistons, y'all had a really good squad. Y'all had that.
Oh yeah.
Y'all brought that physicality with with the Wallaces, the Tayshaun Prince, the Chauncey Billups, the Rip Hamilton, and a
Y'all
lot of
got
other.
us in game 7. Nazi Muhammad had what, 20 boards on us?
Yeah,
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 we blew that. We was up by 10 heading to the fourth quarter and blew it.
yeah, it was a really good matchup, but that's where I kind of want to see our teams back at that level with with a new it's a different identity than it was back then. But
It's so
hopefully,
difficult in the
yeah,
NBA, man.
yeah, hopefully our NBA woes will be gone by in a couple of years, but we'll see, man. But I'll pick a Cowboy game over a Spurs game right now, coming from a
Oh
Spurs fan.
yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah. Hey, at least we got to hope with our football teams at right now. So that's the main thing. Because there's some fans out there that they have fans of teams and they're just like, man, who am I going to even watch this week? I'm just ready for these season to be over with.
Man, what's this I'm hearing about Dak? 55-60, boy.
Yeah, they're gonna have
Dak
to
about to
pay.
be driving in that 55-60 lane.
Yeah,
Oh,
that man's about to buy another Ferrari at the end of the day.
I don't like using the phrase worth it because I think at the end of the day, these dudes work their behinds off to get
Yeah,
to where they are. It wouldn't even be up for consideration to give you that type of money unless you were playing well.
yeah,
And Dak has played well this season. He had a couple bad games and whatnot. That's kind of expected from Dak. I think Dak is a good NFL quarterback. Not sure how good he really is. Not sure if Dak is the guy that's going to get you to the Super Bowl and win it. But I try to tell a lot of fans to not get so caught up in the numbers. It's inflation.
yeah,
If you look at what quarterbacks were making per year on average 20 years ago compared to what it is now, even 10 years ago compared to what it is now. It's just how it is, man. Now, $60 million a year does sound outrageous for a quarterback, but hearing about that potentially could be going on with Dak. Dallas wins a playoff game. Dallas wins a couple playoff games. You can keep adding $10 million to that
yeah,
contract.
yeah,
So
man.
same thing for us with Jared Goff. Like, I'm pretty sure there's Cowboy fans that are split down the middle about whether Dak deserves the money. Same thing here in Detroit. There are Lion fans that feel like Goff is worth 50 million because once the team is winning and you're performing as a quarterback, the value goes up.
Yeah,
So half the fan base feels like he deserves it. Half the fan base says, regardless of what Jared Goff does this year, we move on because you don't want to financially handicap the team with a guy who's game manager. That's pretty much what it is. I think there's Cowboy fans that call Dak that. There's Lions fans that call Jared Goff that. Whenever people don't feel like you're a Super Bowl winning quarterback, a caliber quarterback, they call you a game manager, and nobody wants to pay a game manager $60 million. So
yeah.
it's gonna be interesting this offseason to see what Dak gets. Who signs first, Jared Goff or Dak or whoever else, and how much they get or whatnot. But
Yeah, it's gonna go boil down to how they perform in the playoffs, and that's where you see where how much they're gonna get paid or not. But if that gets to the NFC Championship, man, I don't know how crazy that contract's gonna be. But when it comes to you needing a quarterback, that's one of the key factors you need to have, and you got to pay them at the end of the day. Like if you get them, if you can get to the Super Bowl on their rookie deal, you're doing a great job. But once they get to that second contract, then you got to pay up and get what you can. Because there's some teams that are still looking for a quarterback. But if you can get a guy like how you per se how a lot of people say game manager, but they win games, that's a blessing. Because there's some teams out there wish they even had a game manager, and they're going through quarterbacks trying to figure the next guy who the next guy is every year. You gotta pay your quarterback, even though you may not like the contract. But like you're saying, inflation is gonna happen. There's gonna be quarterbacks making 80 million in the near future, and people are gonna be shocked.
yeah, well, I mean, as a quarterback, you have the leverage, especially if you perform well. Now,
Yeah,
if Dak, if Dallas reached the NFC Championship and it was strictly on the backs of the defense, and they magically found a running game,
yeah,
and in the playoffs, and it was mainly that, and Dak was performing poorly. Now you're in a situation where you say, "Listen, Dak, we got there, but you wasn't performing your best." But then Dak can say, "Well, I threw 33 touchdowns, 34 touchdowns in regular season. That's got to count for something." But yeah, when he performs well, or if Jared Goff performs well, they're gonna break the bank. Unless you're dealing with a quarterback who feels like, you know what, I know the situation I'm in. I'm not going nowhere else. I'm not getting this type of money anywhere else. I'm happy here. I'll take less money here. Now these guys are signing what shorter deals now.
Yeah.
Because a guy like Golf is I believe 26. He'll be 27 soon. Um, Jared ain't getting no 5 year deal. He ain't getting no 6 year deal. I think once these quarterbacks turn 27, 28, unless you're just an outstanding superstar,
Mm-hmm.
you're not getting that long term deal. And that money is going to probably be backloaded, enabling them to cut you if they feel
Yeah.
like cutting you. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we at least got another guy on the roster now in Hendon Hooker. So,
Yeah. Just it's basically just in case if y'all don't get
yeah,
Jared Goff, and like you're saying that they're gonna sign shorter contracts, but they're gonna want that guarantee money for their future. They're
yeah.
gonna if I'm gonna get a shorter contract, I need more of that guarantee money just in case if I get injured and all these other things involved. Because I done been on this team, sacrifice my body every time I get hit. I want to make sure I'm paid, and I'm looking at my future after football and everything. That's how they kind of look at it now. If I'm gonna do a short contract, make sure the guarantee money is good, and don't be putting little tidbits and everything. That's what Denver's got going on with Russell Wilson and everything. You got to make sure you got that. You got to look at the contract and don't try to what's it called do these players dirty. But that's just how a lot of owners are, and you just that the main thing you just want to make sure you have that guaranteed money if you're gonna do a short contract.
Well, I mean, this is also probably the final go round for guys like Dak and Jared, who came out. Didn't they
Yeah,
come out? I think they came out the same year.
they did. I remember
Yeah,
that.
this is the final go round.
Yeah.
So at the ages they're at, like I said, unless you're just a big time superstar and you're performing like that consistently, that third contract typically is the last one.
Yeah.
So of course you're gonna want to cash in, especially if you're playing well. But if you look at a guy like Jared or even Dak for that matter, where else you gonna go? Like so many teams already solved their quarterback position in last year's draft. And they're going to solve more this year. You're looking at Caleb Williams coming into the league, and Drake May,
Mm-hmm.
and Bo Nix, and Penix, and Jaden Daniels for that matter.
Yeah.
These spots is getting ate up. So if you're a guy like Jared Goff, the same thing Daniel Jones found out last offseason. Daniel thought he was going somewhere.
Yeah.
The Giants called his bluff. Go find somebody. The only team that was really sort of interested in him, strange enough, was the Colts. And the Colts decided to say, the hell with that bread. We're going to go draft Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
So, you're looking at these guys. Are you better off taking less money to stay in the perfect situation for you if you're Dak in Dallas or you're Jared Goff in Detroit? Jared Goff got it pretty good right now here.
Yeah.
There's nowhere else Jared Goff can really go. The Saints and lose there,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
And
know.
you got the perfect offense, basically almost perfect offensive line when it comes to Detroit. And then if you go to New Orleans, there's a bit. If you ask David Carr how's no Derek Carr how he's doing with that offensive line, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Washington.
Yeah.
Washington's picking high enough to go get a quarterback now. The Saints are going to probably draft a quarterback, even though they have Derek Carr for at least next year. The Saints more than likely are going to go quarterback. It would be smart. It would be organizational competence for them to go in the quarterback position. That's if a guy is there, or if they feel like they should trade up to get a guy. But where else? Honestly, where else you going to go? In Atlanta? Atlanta's probably going to eventually make a move for a quarterback. They should. So some of these veteran quarterbacks, they running out of options. You may turn out to be better off staying at the current situation you're in for a little bit less of money. Nobody's going to cheat you out of it.
Yeah.
More than likely, Jared Goff is still going to make well over $40 million next year, and so will Dak.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you take a little bit less money instead of taking 60 mil? Do you take 54?
Yeah.
Do you take 53, 52?
Yeah.
Or you want to make 38 mil this year and then make 49 mil next year and then make 50 mil the following year?
Yeah, that's how the Joneses kind of work with that 1 year where it's a little shorter, but the next couple years it kind of goes up, and then that last year may be a little less. I think that's how they're gonna run with it. They're gonna kind of meet him in the middle between that 50 and 60. They're not gonna go 60, but if when you like you were saying a lot of if you're in a great situation, stick with it, but make sure you're not getting cheated out. And I don't think these teams are gonna do that because quarterbacks are here and there, but if you find a really good quarterback, you got to stick with them and
Yeah.
figure out the situation. And the only team that are available that need a quarterback are they're not in the playoff run right now. We can both say that the teams that need a quarterback, they're the teams that are looking at in the draft right now.
Yeah, they're all picking high enough to get one.
Yeah.
The Giants, the Commanders,
Hmm.
not so much Arizona. They're gonna I'm pretty sure they're gonna stick with Kyler Murray. The Bears are still kind of up in the air.
Yeah. Yeah. It's 50
New
50 with the
England,
Bears.
for that matter.
Yeah. New England needs you don't know who the coach is going to be next year because it's the last year with Bill Belichick, so you don't know who's coming in when it comes to that. So yeah, but hey, I appreciate you for coming on the show. We definitely got to get you back on. Definitely when it comes to draft season or even early, just to get your opinion and everything. It's been a great show, bro. Uh, I know I already said where they can check you out again, but if there's any new people, where can they check your content out again?
Yep. If you're on Facebook for sure, you can type my name in, Walt Stringer, the way it's his right here, to go directly to my main personal Facebook page, or you can type in Lions Avenue as put on the screen. You can find all the Lions content, and we are also on LinkedIn. You can go right on there, type my name in, bring my personal page up, and find all of those same Lions Avenue videos.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you again. This has
No
been
problem,
Tacos.
man.
Yes, sir. This has been Tacos and Touchdowns. Y'all have a good one. Peace.
Peace.
Sir.